Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm talking about some amazing white floral perfumes that really, if you are a white floral lover, you should at some point try and get your nose on, just because they are fantastic. So let's just get into it straight away. These samples were, I think all of them have been sent to me by Valentina, a fragrance friend. We've done some sample swapping and she wanted to send me some examples of amazing floral perfumes. These are the ones I've picked out from a huge array that she sent me that I think are really worth your attention. Now, that's not to say I love them all. In actual fact, I've had very mixed reactions to them over time. And I just think that they're so interesting that regardless of whether I love them or hate them or like them or whether you will, they're still so interesting just to get to know and to understand. So I'm going to start off with the first one here, which is called, actually a couple of these are from Serge Lutens. Serge Lutens, and this is Tubereuse Criminelle. And this is highly rated amongst tuberose lovers, tuberose aficionados. All know what this perfume is, and it is such an interesting one. Like, my gosh, when you first spray this, do not expect it to be pretty. It's bizarre. When you first spray this, it smells to me like a medicine cabinet with antiseptic stuff, Dettol and Germaline and antiseptics and plasters. It is so medicinal. It is jarring. Like, not many people will want to smell like this, trust me. So why am I talking to you about it? Because it changes and because it's fascinating. It really changes. The medicinal qualities will slowly fade away. Like, they're not there for that long. They gently fade away. And then you do get the white floral, you get the, and I'm sure we're getting the tuberose now, but it's just coming off with everything else really medicinal. But it does calm down and it becomes prettier. I would never call this a beautiful or pretty fragrance. It's a white floral that is interesting, unique, special, and you might find it strangely beautiful at some point. I found it so jarring the first time I tried it, and I've had to try it numerous times to really appreciate it, and it's still not something I would wear. I find that opening, that medicinal crazy opening, too much. It really is too much. I've worn it on my wrist. I've just worn it on the wrist, obviously because I wanted to test it on skin, and that is enough for me. I can't imagine dousing myself or even just wearing a spray up here. For me, it's just, that opening is so crazy. But when it dries down, and it's not drying down right now, when it dries down, you do get a much more acceptable, almost pretty floral tuberose. I'm not sure if there's other white florals in here. I don't know the notes, but it dries down to more of an acceptable perfume, a tuberose. And I think this is the one that dries down to almost having a bit of a clean musk feel in the far base as well. So a really interesting one just to get your nose on, just to really try something that is quite jarring but also really highly regarded by perfume buffs. So I do think it's something to test out. I wouldn't blind buy a bottle ever, please don't. But if you can get a sample, it's something that it will open up your perfume world, open up your palette, and, you know, just keep going back to it like I did, because it does become easier to understand and easier to deal with the more you get used to it. So yeah, I found this one really interesting, but it's not something that I will be buying for sure. So we're going to stick with Serge Lutens. Actually, 3 of these are Serge Lutens. Serge Lutens clearly does white florals in a very interesting manner. This one I can wear. This is called Sarrasins. You can see the colour. You might not be able to read the label. The colour of the juice is this lilac or purple. You will even see a little bit of a purple stain there on the paper. So Sarrasins is a jasmine perfume, I would say, primarily. And when you first smell it, that jasmine smacks you in the face. It is big. But I don't find it anywhere near as challenging as Tuberose Criminelle. It is just a big old hit of jasmine. I think there's probably a little bit of an indolic nature to it, because I feel a tiny hint of a funk under there. Actually, this might be the one that dries down to a bit of a more of a clean musk. So I do apologise. It's been a while since I sprayed all of these, and I just wanted to finally get this video out. So it's not going to be the most in-depth in terms of me trying to remember the dry downs of all of these, but at least you know that these are really interesting white florals that I think they just deserve some attention. Yeah, Sarrasins is kind of a little sharp. There's a fresh element, there's a tiny bit of a green element, but it's very, very jasmine forward. Jasmine, jasmine, jasmine. More jasmine than Jasmine Rouge from Tom Ford. It's that I feel like Jasmine Rouge is a very sunny and accessible jasmine. This is like sharp, not unpleasant, but this is a cold jasmine. This is not approachable. This is like, stay away. Keep away, keep your distance. So it's not the warmest, and there is a little hint of funk there. Definitely, yeah, just has this really cool feel. And you think of the colour, this purple colour is a cold colour. It's a cold jasmine, I think. Let me know if you've tried this one and what your thoughts are on it. But I think this is the one that dries down to a more of a clean musk feel in the end. And it's much more palatable than Tuberose Criminelle. Really, really interesting. And yeah, has a slight sweetness in there as well. There's a richness to it. It's almost like a slightly jammy feel to it. Really, really interesting fragrance. Saracens from Serge Lutens. So I've saved my two favourites for last. And I'm going to spray the last of this one on my wrist because I love it. I've actually got through 2 samples of this. Valentine was kind enough, when I told her how much I loved it, she sent me another sample of the same thing, and this is the last of that now. So this one is much more wearable. It's much more my style because this is a gardenia. So it's called Gardenia. It's an extract or extrait de parfum, and it's got gardenia. I think it also has some other white florals. So I think there's some jasmine, and this one actually reminds me a little bit of Alien Essence Absolute. It's got this rich vanilla resin accord in there, so it's almost it's a lot sweeter than the two I've just mentioned. It's almost Play-Doh like sweetness, you know, all those rubbers or erasers that you had when you was a child that smelled of, you know, sweet and fruity and vanillic. It's almost like that. So it's a very accessible, very pretty, bordering gourmand white floral. So this is my genre. This is the kind of fragrance I absolutely love. I would potentially buy this if it wasn't ridiculously expensive. Unfortunately, it is ridiculously expensive. I plan to try the EDP if they're really similar. The EDP is a lot cheaper, so I would go for the EDP, but I haven't tried it yet. So the company is called Isabey, and it's the Gardenia and it's the extrait. Very rich. You can see it's still shining on my skin. Very oil heavy and just very sweet, rounded, rich. It might be orange blossom in here as well. It wouldn't surprise me. Rich, yeah, it does smell a bit orangey. Rich, vanillic and resinous, but in a very, very approachable way. It doesn't smell too niche. It's almost like Elie Saab Le Parfum, but it just got sweetened up and was a flanker of like Le Parfum. I don't know, how would we say it? Imagine it in a dessert option, like au sucre, which would mean with sugar, something like that. not that it's exactly sugary, but it's quite sweet. So I really like that. That's beautiful. And then finally, this one I've used it all up because I love it. And it's Serge Lutens Fille de Joie, Son of Joy. Fils or Fille de Joie, Son of Joy. Let's see if I can get any out of it. Tiny bit. Really, really dark red juice. You can see what's left in the bottom there. This one is a jasmine perfume. Again, this one's really jammy. It's really jammy and rich. And to me, it smells rosy. Now, there's no listed note of rose, but it smells to me like jasmine and rose combined. And it's really dark, really dense, a little incensey, a little bit sweetened, nowhere near as sweet as that. But jammy all the same, like really rich, jammy jasmine and rose and incense. It's absolutely amazing. I love it. I absolutely want a bottle out of all of these. This is the one that's on my wish list, Fille de Joie. Unfortunately, on the grey market, you can pick up bottles at reasonable prices, about £70–80 mark. I think it's very worth it for the quality of this scent. But it is very rich. Like, some people might find it too strong, or they might describe it as a fragrance that wears you because it is quite rich and strong. But I just adore it. And I don't know, it's reminded me of Stella Rose Absolute. And as I say, it's not a rose perfume according to the notes, but to me it smells quite rich and rosy. So I'm not sure what that was all about. But anyway, they were just a selection of amazing white florals I really think are worth your attention. Don't blind buy them, sample them and see what you think if you haven't tried them already. But if you have tried them, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know what you think of them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.